Alright, today's video is a special video because I got two swords from LK Chen. This is one of them. This is the Twin Peaks Liao Dao. This thing is so gnarly. This thing is awesome. So I got this in the box and I'm like, it was wrapped in bubble wrap. It was all packaged correctly like we do at Kult of Athena. We make sure your orders are packed safely, as safe as they can be. And I unwrapped this and I'm like, what is this? Is this a farming tool? And then I started to move with it and actually do the cutting with it, and this thing is freaking awesome. So this is the Twin Peaks Liao Dao from LK Chen. LK Chen, I'm a big fan of their work and their craftsmanship of blades from different cultures, well, different time periods at least, not just different cultures. But this blade is amazing. Let's take a look at some specs on it, up close looks, and yes, also some cut testing. Let's get to it. All right, overall length, I had to walk back for this one as you can see it. 50 inches, 50 inches overall length. We have a very interesting end here of the end of the handle for some retention. We have 29 7/16 of a single edge blade. This blade is a big chopper, so whether you're going downward cuts, whether you're going more upward slashes or into downward, it moves beautifully. Twin Peaks Liao Dao is 5 pounds, 4 ounces. Now you're thinking, you're like, well, this thing is going to be hard to move around with. It's not going to, you're not going to be able to really do anything with it. Not true. LK Chen blades, even though they sometimes have weight to them, sometimes they are even lighter than these, of course. But this being a two-handed blade and being a hell of a chopper, you're going to have a little bit more weight on a Dao like this. And for how long the blade is, and this being over 50 inches and like 29, a little bit over a 29-inch blade, this thing moves really well. It does not feel like 5 pounds in your hand. You could, I mean, the handle, you'd have to choke down a little bit, but if you did have to go into a single-handed cut for some reason, or if you did have to go into a single-handed thrust and like pull this back in, or like go into a spear thrust and come back, it doesn't feel overbearing, which is so crazy about it. I'm really impressed always with LK Chen stuff, but something this elaborate and something this specific of design. It's a very unique design. I've never seen anything like this before. This one is awesome. This is a high carbon manganese spring steel. So this is a steel that they use on a lot of other LK Chen blades. One of my favorites that they also have is the Snow Peak Jian with a real race skin white handle. The thing is beautiful. Check that out on the channel as well. The edge on this one, you're gonna guess it, it's really sharp. It's really sharp. Cutting through with this one, tatami mats, was very simple. I did primarily upward cuts on this one because I really wanted to work on really exaggerating the back sweep of the blade. So kind of more of a saber type of blade. Not really, it's the profile of some sabers. It is a Dao, but it does remind me of a saber with that back swept toward the last quarter or last half of the blade. Thankfully, this one comes with a scabbard. It is a leather scabbard. This one is hand stitched. It's got 2 pins on it. This moves a little bit, but you have this piece that is not sharp right here. So if that was to slide out, not gonna cut the scabbard. I know they did that on purpose. This is a one of one, a 1,000-year-old two-handed design. This thing is pretty impressive. We have pins, we have a pin construction on the handle. We've got bamboo pins on each side. This is also pinned into place, and I believe it's also glued into place on the end of what you could call a pommel. It's more of a, I guess you could say an ancient pommel if anything, but it works. So taking this one out, this one snaps on. Sliding it out, that's the good thing about this one, is when you draw it, you don't have to run the actual edge of this. Handle is gigantic. You can fit probably 4 or 5 hands on this one. Cross guard is really sweet too. You can see that the hand is very protected behind that. Whether you have this in front, you might have this into a high position. You might have this low. But you have basically the manipulation of a spear with the cutting power of a Dao. This being a double-handed Dao, you could have this in a low position, you could have this up high, you could have this in more of a mid position, but you're basically protected behind this giant piece of steel with a really, really sweet handle as well. I'm sure they had different poking strikes with that too, where you could shoot the hands up. You can come around into cuts as well. It's a really, really sweet blade. Specifically mentioned the grip length itself, it just said it was really big. It's 14 1/4 inch length grip. 14 1/4 inch. You've got the ferrule. This is more the steel ferrule, locking that in. I like to rest my hand on top of the handguard there. I just think that feels really comfortable for the way that's designed. Let's get really specific on this one. Blade thickness is 6.6 to 2.6 millimeters. So you're gonna get 6.6 toward the bottom part of this here, just to show you with my hand. None of this is sharp. This will be all 6.6, and then toward the striking surface and where this actually swoops up here in this Dao shape, this is where it becomes 2.6. It's not thin. It's not thin at all. It's over 5 pounds, so don't expect it to be thin. It's very well constructed. To get specific on the blade width, this is 45 to 65 millimeters in width. You're gonna see, it's pretty clear on the blade, but you're gonna see how you have it bellies out. So you're gonna get the widest part toward below the upper third, more specifically. So you have a wider blade, but 45 to 65 millimeters for the blade width. Point of balance on this Twin Peaks Dao is 2 1/8 inches from the guard. I'm gonna back up a little bit so you can see the whole blade. Just to show you, something that is over 5 pounds has a really, really good balance point. I feel like if this balance point was further up, it would feel very handle heavy and it wouldn't be nearly as agile and maneuverable in the hand. I don't really see you using this where you're actually grabbing the pommel. I think this is purely because if you're going into larger like sweeping cuts, or if you were gonna bring this around and then pull it back in, you have that extra retention on the hand. I don't see any other use for it other than obviously hitting somebody with it and coming back out to guard, or even going into that from here. So it's really there for retention. Let's do some up close looks at this one in the scabbard and out of the scabbard. All right, taking a look at the handle. Over a 14-inch handle, we have bamboo pins, 2 running through the handle. God, that thing is so cool. So you can see from up close, you've got plenty of retention on that. Take a look at the scabbard. All leather scabbard. We have 2 snaps on here. Ooh. And then flip this over. There's the back of it. If you see blemishes on this one, I have not cleaned it yet. I did the cut testing earlier today. Take another look at the handle. This piece right here is not sharp at all from this point down. So when you're drawing it, if it moves in the scabbard, it's not going to cut into the scabbard. I'm going to flip this guy over. Set it down carefully because I really like these blades. Again, blemishes did not come like that. I am going to clean it. It'll be all good as new. All right, let's take a look at some of the cut testing with the Twin Peaks Dao. I gotta be honest with you, I didn't actually know this was an LK Chen blade when I got it in the box, like I was telling you earlier in the review. But as soon as I put it in my hand, I knew it was. Cut testing, it cut beautifully. Barely felt the cut through the tatami, if at all. The momentum of it, the edge geometry, and the overall design are really gonna help with that. Let's take a look at the cutting performance on the Twin Peaks Dao. Alright, so there you have it for the Twin Peaks Dao. Hope you enjoyed checking out this blade as much as I enjoyed reviewing it. This LK Chen Twin Peaks Liao Dao. If you want to check out this blade, click the link in the description below this video to buy it today. There's only one of these in stock, so try and get it. I'm gonna clean this guy up. It'll probably go up in the pre-owned section. If you want to see more LK Chen products, also let us know in the comments below so we can review them for you. We have another Jian sword coming. Check out the Snow Peak Jian, the LK Chen one, on our channel. I did that a few months back at the end of last year. Check that out. That is probably one of my favorite Jians I've ever moved with and ever done cut testing with. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and we'll see you in the next one.